Indexing can be pretty difficult if it includes native knowledge, basically information that is known to the people that own the data, but not necessarily people that are working on the data. So companies like ours that are doing scanning and indexing projects aren't usually doing interpretation of data. We like to know what we're looking for and then how to capture it to provide it to an electronic format. And OLIS is an application that alleviates the issue of not knowing how to interpret data, but instead just getting the right information on the right document so that you can access it once it's in electronic format. So OLIS is an acronym that stands for Online Indexing System. Online, OL, Indexing, IS system, OLIS. And the application was created for our clients to use prior to a project starting. It's actually a bit more work for our clients up front. And that's the point, because a lot of this material that OLIS is useful for is difficult to interpret. So it's a little more work for them up front, but that alleviates a lot of work and a lot of confusion on our end and work for our client on the back end because of the nuances of the data and the records that we're working with. So instead of having a bunch of exceptions and miskeys, potential errors, OLIS alleviates that by having the client, the ones that know the information best, do the indexing up front. Paper scanning was the original use for OLIS, and it's still the most widely used today, but it was created with the idea that when the records are being prepared to send in to us, instead of just sending them and having them get to BMI and us seeing them saying, okay, we're supposed to be indexing, name and date of birth, but well, now there are 3 dates on this, and which one am I supposed to do? Okay, it's supposed to be in the top right, but there are 2 dates in the top right. And also, this name is here, but there's another name underneath. Do we use the maiden? All these different issues that come up with records can be alleviated by the client working on it first. So when our clients are getting ready to send us the records for the initial prep stage before scanning, instead of the normal process, which is we get the records, we prep them, we scan them, we index them, our client is going to log into the OLIS portal, the application, and basically create data batches, and they can choose how many fields they want to have for each record, what the field contains, if it's numbers, names, strings, dates, whatever it is. They can limit characters, have multiple users, and they basically create those fields and then enter them in as they're prepping the boxes to send to us. So we'll assume that we're working with a registrar's office and they have student records. Let's say it's 100 boxes and each box has 70 or so files. The folders, like manila folders, and each one's a student. But instead of just saying like a student name and a date of birth like we were talking about earlier, they want a lot of detailed information. They know on the individual documents their names and numbers, like a student ID number or dates or whatever it is. They're all over the place. So instead of us trying to slog through that, they're going to use OLIS. And what they'll do is they'll create those fields, they'll print out a barcode sheet once they have the fields entered for a file, and they'll put that sheet in front of the folder. Again, this is just an example that you can do. You can do it within binders, you can do as many variations as you want, make it pretty complex, but a very simple example is they just put the barcode sheet in front of each folder, in front of each student. So when we receive the records as we're prepping it, we see that barcode, it stays where it is. And then when we get to scanning, we scan the barcode and just continue scanning. Then in the post-processing, instead of our people looking through and actually keying data and trying to figure out what to name these, that barcode ties the information in that folder to the OLIS application. We automatically pull the fields from there, and it's auto-populated with the information. So you could have 1 field, 2 fields, 10 fields, whatever it is. It's what you put in there gets pulled from that barcode and assigned to that digital file. The best part is that it's all tied together. So when we scan that barcode, it's tied to the portal and just pulls directly from it. We don't even have to do any indexing because it's coming straight from the barcode that you inserted in that location in front of that folder that you typed in the data. So it basically eliminates any errors on our side or misinterpretation or confusion about what we're typing. It's exactly what you wanted on there. And although paper is the main use for OLIS, it can be used in other applications. One I actually did personally recently was for microfilm. I had a client with about 500 rolls of microfilm, and as we started reviewing the microfilm labels and what was on there, I could tell that she wanted something much more nuanced, much more complex than what I was seeing on the label. So although it said, there are a couple different fields on the labels, things kept popping up like, well, she knew that it says this name and it's this doc type, but really she wanted a different doc type because there's something that in her office they know X, Y, and Z. It was just clear that most of the information came from her knowledge of it, not necessarily what was on the label. And so after a few back and forths and looking at these, I recommended, hey, let's try OLIS, because I don't want to do this and you think it's mostly what you want, but not all the way there. You have to do a bunch of fixes later on, or just, change it later, because we just can't interpret what you're hoping for because it's not on the label, it's not there. She agreed, so we tried OLIS, we got her logged into it, and she basically went in, created a barcode sheet for each roll of microfilm, let's just call it 500 of them, basically wrapped the barcode sheet around the microfilm nicely and put a rubber band around it so it was tied to that individual roll of film. Then when she sent it to us, during our microfilm scanning process, we photographed the roll labels. At that time, we also photographed the barcode sheet, which also includes all the data that she's looking for, but a unique identifier. There's a unique number on each barcode sheet. So we photographed that. Then we scanned the film. Then when it got to our keyers, all they had to do was just key that one number. It pulled the information from OLIS and populated all the fields that she wanted. Now she was going to our digital reel application. So based on what she did, one roll would say, okay, it's gonna be in this subdocument type, that, and then here are the fields for the actual roll. You click on it, the roll pops up. It was pretty complex, pretty detailed, but because she used OLIS and did the upfront work, it's exactly how she wants it in her application in digital reel. So it worked out great for her. There were no errors, no nothing, because she did the indexing. It's exactly what she wanted with that native knowledge. OLIS is not right for every project because, one, it requires more work from you, our client, and a lot of people don't want to do that. That's why they're hiring us. They don't want to deal with it. But it does allow for that removal, or at least mitigation of error. So if you know something specific, if you know that this information, let's say box labels, folder labels, microfilm labels, whatever it is, that's not completely information you need, and there's some weirdness to it, or some again, native knowledge that you have, OLIS may be an application that you put a little more work up front to make sure the back end is as clean as you want it. Of course, we can do the work, but if we do the indexing and a bunch of exceptions pop up, that's just gonna have to be dealt with at the end anyway. So whichever way you want to go is fine, but just OLIS is available if you think you want to do the indexing and make sure it's 100% exactly how you want it. To wrap it all up, if you're preparing for a scanning project, especially paper, because that's mostly what OLIS is used for, consider OLIS, reach out to us, and of course we can discuss your project if OLIS may be a fit, or if just the traditional prep, scan, index method that we usually do is the best way to go. If you're interested in learning more about how to choose a scanning partner, go ahead and watch this video right up here. Starts with a few questions, then it's a little series of a video actually of questions you should ask a scanning partner when you're vetting them. And then of course, if you want to reach out to us, click the link in the comments I pinned below. It'll take you a web page where you can fill out a form to get in touch with us. Thank you for watching.